I'm Johnny, and you are here at the Field Van Factory. We're in Fresno, California, and today, believe it or not, we're gonna be talking vans. So I've got all the vans that we work on here in the showroom, and my man Brian here. Brian?
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be talking about vans today, and what's the first question most people ask us when they go to design their custom camper?
Yeah, starting point for your van build is gonna be, what van do you want, right? We're really lucky here at Field Van because we do all the vans, tons of options, right? So every modern van, plus we actually bring back a van that really doesn't exist anymore except from us.
That's right. So we have the Mercedes Sprinter, we have the Ram ProMaster, we have the Ford Transit, we have the Chevy Express or the GMC Savannah, and like Brian mentioned, the Ford Classic. And today we're going to be talking about what is the perfect van for everybody.
Yeah, which is a trick question, right? There's no perfect van for everybody, but there is a perfect van for you, which is why we do so many options.
And it can depend on where you live, what you do, what gear you're taking with you, how many passengers you're hauling. All those are a factor in deciding which is the best chassis for you. We're going to review some of those things today and help you figure out which van is best. All right, let's get into it.
All right, so first we're talking about the Mercedes Sprinter, one of the most popular platforms for conversion out there right now. Behind me is a 144 high roof, but the Sprinter comes in 3 sizes and 2 roof heights. So in the 144, which is a 20-foot long van, you have a low and a high roof. Then we move to the 170 wheelbase, which is a 23 to 24-foot long van, and we have a regular and an extended body. So the all-wheel drive version of this van is only available in the 4-cylinder diesel engine, although soon to be available in electric motors as well. So safety features, so the Mercedes has all of the modern safety features: adaptive cruise control, lane assist, attention assist, 360-degree cameras, all the bells and whistles, and you can option them that way. You can also option them more simply and put in an aftermarket stereo if you want as well. Base price for the Sprinters is listed at $59,400. More often with options and packages, we see them in the 65 all the way up to 85,000 range for the base model van. It's a little more cost in maintenance with a diesel engine and being a Mercedes, and you do have to typically find a dealer or approved Mercedes service station to service these vans, and that can be a little tougher in out of the way areas, but in general, very reliable vehicle, and the services are only every 20,000 miles for an oil change, so not something you have to do very often. Clearance on a stock Mercedes, you get about 7 inches of clearance at the low point. When we put bigger wheels and tires and sometimes use suspension, we get that up to about 9 inches. There are some people pushing those limits, but you do have to be careful because in the modern vans, you can start to set off sensors and get check engine lights, things like that come up when you do those modifications. The nice thing with the Mercedes, because it's so popular, is there are lots of upgrades, right? Suspension upgrades, skid plates, extended range fuel tanks, bigger brake kits, all kinds of options for the Mercedes because it is one of the more popular platforms. Really though, this is unibody construction still. Although people are pushing limits and taking these things, maybe even some places they shouldn't, really at most at home on snowy roads, on dirt roads, Forest Service roads, things like that. Maybe venturing into some minor trails, but nothing that's like true Jeep trail style for that in terms of capability. But let's talk about conversion aspects a little bit. So lots of options on these Mercedes vans. Pop tops. So we do pop tops on the low roof van here in-house. We also do a pop top from our friends over at SCA for the high roof van. So in all the sizes, you can get a pop top on a Mercedes. Interior heights in the high roof is 6'3" inside, so most people can fit in that pretty well. In the low roof, when we put a pop top on it, it shrinks it down to 5'4" under the bed, 5'8" in front of the bed, and then when I lift the pop top up, you have almost 8 feet of space. So some of my really tall guys end up doing a pop top just because it's one of the few vans they can lift the top and they can walk around and stand up in. And another thing we look at just in terms of drivability and comfort is the seating, right? So the cab. The Sprinter sits a little more upright like a bus, has really comfortable seats, and it's one of the easiest to get up from the seat and walk to the back. Really open aisleway, nice comfortable space. Again, there's tons of options in terms of conversion for the Sprinter. We do almost everything we do can be done on a Sprinter in terms of bathrooms, features, floor plans, all of that, especially with the different sizes. Last but not least, resale is really good on the Sprinter. So both being a Mercedes and having a diesel engine, which tend to go longer in terms of mileage, the resale on these vans is really, really good. That's it for the Mercedes Sprinter. Love this van, had one for my own family. Absolutely great vehicle to travel and just vacation in. Next, we're gonna talk about the ProMaster, so I'll let Johnny take it from there.
Right behind me here is the Ram ProMaster. The ProMaster comes in 3 different heights and 3 different lengths that we work on. We work on the 136-inch wheelbase, the 159-inch wheelbase, and the 159 extended. It also comes in 3 different heights. It has a low roof option, which we can add our pop top to. It also has a high roof like the one behind me and a super high roof that has 86 inches of interior height. The ProMaster has most of the modern day safety features: blind spot monitor, adaptive cruise control, lane assist, and parallel park assist. The ProMaster is a front wheel drive van. It comes with a gas V6 motor and typically gets about 14 to 16 miles per gallon depending on the length of the van and the weight of the conversion. The towing capacity on the ProMaster ranges from 5,100 pounds up to 6,900 pounds. As far as maintenance goes on the ProMaster, very low cost maintenance, less than the Sprinter, also more accessible, more dealerships. So you're on the road, finding a service center is pretty easy. So let's talk about the drivability and off-roadability of the Ram ProMaster. Being that the ProMaster is front-wheel drive, it does allow for the lowest floor height of all the vans that are offered. It also has the widest interior. But being front-wheel drive and a low floor, it also comes with lower clearance. So it isn't as ideal off-road because of that low clearance. It's also a unibody construction, so we find that the ProMaster is happier when on pavement. Due to the lack of off-roadability, we find that the resale value on the ProMaster isn't quite as high as the Sprinter or the Transit. Let's learn more about the Transit and check out what Brian's got going on over here.
Behind me is the Ford Transit, so arguably the second most popular van chassis that we work on, and really gaining ground lately. The Transits have come a long way with some of the features in recent times. Really versatile van in terms of sizes available. So there are 3 sizes and 3 roof heights as well. So you have a 130 wheelbase and a low and medium roof. You move to the 148 wheelbase, which you can get low, medium, and high roof, and then the 148 extended, which is a longer van, which is only available in high roof. So you have those 3 options, 3 roof heights to choose from. The engine we do in this, so it's available with 2 different V6 gas engines, but we really gravitate towards the EcoBoost engine. A little bit more power, which helps a lot, especially when you have the weighted conversion, a little more pep off the line. So that's typically the engine we get these in. Miles per gallon on these vans is 14 to 17 miles per gallon, depending on size, weight of conversion. These vans are also available in a 150, 250, and 350. We can build on all 3. Typically 250 and 350 is what we're using, but the 150s for lighter weight conversions also work fine. All the modern safety features on these vans. So Ford has really worked hard in the last few years to kind of catch up to where Mercedes was in terms of that. So you do have adaptive cruise control, 360 camera, parking assist, attention assist. All of those features are now available in the Ford Transit as well. Base price on these is about $53,500, $54,000. More commonly, we're seeing them go $60,000 to $70,000 with options, depending on how you option them out. Maintenance on these is where they kind of shine. So it is a little bit less expensive to maintain them, and availability of maintenance is really where they shine, because Ford dealers and Ford service stations are typically everywhere, especially in the US. So much easier to service. The fact that it's using the EcoBoost engine, which is also in the F-150 pickup, it usually ensures that parts are available, at least most of the time. You're gonna have parts available everywhere because it's a very common engine. The towing capacity on the Transit, 4,700 to 6,900 pounds, depending on model, 150, 250, 350, size, and wheelbase. In terms of the off-road and just capability of the Transit, they come in all-wheel drive, or two-wheel drive. Most of the time we're doing an all-wheel drive version. So no low range in terms of your 4x4 capability because it's an all-wheel drive vehicle. They typically stock have about 5.5 inches of clearance. Most of the time there's 2 ways to do it. We're either lifting them with a Quigley Q-lift, so we work with Quigley in hand to do that and lift the van up and put bigger wheels and tires, which can get it up to about a 7-inch clearance. Another really cool thing is Ford has come out with a factory version called the Transit Trail. So the Trail comes stock from Ford with a 3.5-inch body lift, bigger wheels and tires, additional front bumper, and a few other features that are kind of nice for conversion. And it looks really cool with the grille and running boards they put on there as well. So that's kind of a neat thing we can order and start with that as a platform. Upgrades. So for the Transit, not quite as many upgrades as the Sprinter yet, but catching up quickly. So on the Transit, you can do suspension packages, extended range fuel tanks, skid plates, a few other options that are available that make it a little more trail worthy, at least better on dirt roads for sure. Where is this thing at home? Realistically, with the all-wheel drive, snowy roads, it's a great platform. For service roads, it's great. You can push it a little bit into those kind of minor off-road trails, but it doesn't have quite as much clearance even as the Sprinter does, so you got to really watch that a little bit. Other than that, really great platform. That EcoBoost engine has a ton of pep, so definitely off the line quicker than the Sprinter. Really fun when you're driving on the highway because you can pass somebody pretty easily. Let's talk a little bit about conversion aspects of the Transit. So in terms of conversion for the Transit, we do pop tops on several of the versions. So both of the low roof models get a pop top. The 148 wheelbase medium roof can get a pop top, which is one of my favorites because it has really good space inside. There's also just coming out a pop top for the high roof version as well. So pop tops on all of them. I think the only thing we don't do a pop top on is the 130 medium roof. Lots of options in terms of what you can do in floor plans. So pretty much all the options there, bathrooms, different floor plans we do are all available in the Transit. The low roof version, really close, doesn't quite fit in a factory garage. So factory garage, I should say standard garage for most housing developments is about 7 feet. So we're just over that, but with some minor modifications, or if you have just a slightly bigger garage, the low roof Transit is really close to being able to fit in that with a pop top. The high roof version is one of the tallest vans, not quite the tallest, but very close at 80 inches interior space. So your taller people in a high roof Transit can walk around in there without hitting their head on the roof, which is really nice. The cab of the vehicle is really important. Cab of the Transit has a little bit lower seats. It really feels a little more car-like when you're driving it, especially for a big vehicle, which is really nice. The only thing to watch out for taller individuals is it can be a little bit tight, especially compared to a Sprinter. Also the roof height. So in the low roof and medium roof vans, you definitely want to get factory swivel seats, which are available from Ford because they don't raise the height of the seat at all. If I do an aftermarket swivel, it can raise the height of the seat and put that tall person into a little bit of an uncomfortable space in terms of their view while driving. And last but not least for Transits, the resale value. So resale value's really come up a little bit recently. Not quite as good as the Mercedes just because of brand name and because of diesel engine versus gas, especially with higher mileage on them, but resale's pretty good on the Transit. So that's the quick facts on the Transit. Now we're gonna move into a little more traditional body style vans and talk about the GMC Savannah and the Chevy Express van. In terms of conversion are almost the same van, two different offerings, both from GM, pretty similar vans, so we're gonna talk about them together as though they were one. So this van's available just in two sizes, so 135 inch wheelbase, 155 inch wheelbase, so a little bit longer van, but only in low roof. So limits conversion a little bit in that term. So currently in these vans, two engines available, 4.3 liter V6, 6.6 liter V8. Towing capacities, you're looking at 7,100 to 7,400 pounds, depending on model. For the V6, 10,000 pounds for the V8. These vans come two-wheel drive, but our friends over at Quigley 4x4 in Pennsylvania convert these into 4x4 for us, and that's factory-approved conversion to 4x4, so that's a really good thing, and we use them for the Chevys and the GMCs exclusively. Modern safety features in these vans, so not quite as much as the Sprinter and the Transit. We do have some blind spot avoidance, we do have some lane assist, we have rear view camera, but currently no adaptive cruise control and a little bit less on the features. Part of that's because the older style van and then also converting it to 4x4. We don't want the conversion to mess up any of those sensors and conflict with that. Base price on these, $42,500, but usually you're seeing them between $45,000 and $48,000 for the base vehicle. The Quigley 4x4 conversion is an additional $16,000 to $19,000 depending on options. So those two together give you your base price in the mid 60s, 65, 67 if you get a 4x4 version of this. Maintenance on these, pretty comparable to the Ford Transit, so GM's everywhere, so lots of service stations, pretty easy to maintain. The vans have been around for a long time, so parts are readily available, so that's nice if you're traveling into remote areas. Let's talk a little bit about conversion options in these vans. So for the GMC and the Chevy, in terms of the conversion aspects, they start out as low roof vans. We do pop tops on both of them in both sizes. We can actually do a fiberglass hardtop too if we want a high roof version to be made out of it. But you have to keep in mind these start as low roof vans, so while we can do all the modern floor plans in them, they're better suited to the camping style plans. The Summit one, the Canyon one, more open floor space typically work better with those low ceiling vans. And you're kind of trading that off in this van for the 4x4 capability that you get out of it. In terms of the cab, so comfortable seats, they drive really nice. The only maybe thing that's different from the modern vans is you have the bigger doghouse in there that covers the engine. So it's a little bit more work to get up from the driver's seat and get into the back just because there's more there going on. And you also need to watch taller people, especially with swivel seats. So there's no factory swivel seat in a Chevy. We can do an aftermarket swivel, but it does raise the height of that seat a little bit, which for taller people can be an issue. So we do have to watch that in terms of conversion. But overall, incredible platform. You're getting a lot of 4x4 capability. And last but not least, resale. So resale on these vans is pretty good because of the scarcity. You don't see a lot of the 4x4 conversion vans coming out, especially all built out, so they tend to hold their value really well. So that's the quick facts on the GMC Savannah Chevy Express van. Really nice platform. But next we're going to talk about kind of a labor of love for us here at Field Van, one of my favorites, the Ford Classic.
In 1989, when my family and I got into the van business, we worked exclusively with the Ford, Dodge, and Chevy vans, the classic American looking vans. While Ford discontinued the full Econoline van, they still offer the E350 cutaway chassis, and that's what this rig is based on. So we take that cutaway chassis, we put our famous 4x4 system on it, and then we designed a fiberglass body that fits on the back. It allows it to be a little bit wider inside than the old van while still keeping the trailability of those classic Econolines. This van comes with a 7.3 liter V8 Godzilla motor. It gets about 12 miles per gallon. Let's be honest, we're not buying this for the fuel economy or the safety features. We're buying this because it is the most off-road capable RV on the market. The Classic with that big V8 motor has a 10,000 pound tow capacity. It is currently available only with our pop top, although we have a hard roof in the works as well. Our custom fiberglass body makes the interior almost 5 inches wider than the factory interior of that E350 van. With that big V8 comes a big, what they call doghouse in the cab area. So the cab isn't as roomy as the European style vans. It can be a little tougher to get from the front to the back, and it's not made for the tallest of individuals due to the lack of legroom. In that cab area, the Classic comes standard with forward-facing seats. We can add an aftermarket swivel to the passenger side, and it will not increase the ride height on that seat. Another unique feature of the Classic is the barn-style doors as opposed to the sliding door, and that allows us to put our famous door galley on this unit to allow cooking or extra storage in that door cabinet. Since the Classic only comes with that low roof option to begin with, the plans that are best suited is our Summit S1. You know, the bathroom plans don't work as well in this type of conversion. Well, let's talk about the main reason that you would choose this chassis. All that other stuff's great, but the reason you're picking this is because of its off-road capability. Now, the Ford Classic doesn't have your run-of-the-mill factory 4x4 system. This is a custom-built system designed by us here at Field Van. It has a Dynatrac ProRock 60 front axle with a Dana 70 rear axle. We do a 6-inch suspension lift using Fox shocks, Bet springs. We use an Atlas 2 transfer case, which is all gear driven. We have sought out the highest grade components to make this 4x4 system not only reliable, but extremely capable. It has extra travel. We put in a sway bar with quick disconnect. So you can disconnect that sway bar and have up to 33 inches up and down on these things. A few more features that make this extra special off-road: the larger brakes, locking differentials. We have an ARB front locker. We also have air compressors on board for airing down. This thing is really designed to take you off-road and reliable enough to get you back home. If you're extreme, if your goal is to get off-road, get to the most remote places, have the capabilities to go off-roading, the Ford Classic is definitely the chassis for you. Well, there you have it. That is our brief rundown on all the different chassis that we offer here at Field Van.
Yeah, if you like this video, give us a follow on YouTube. We're gonna be doing more videos, more in-depth on each individual van. Also, if you want some comparison facts, we didn't get a chance to do that in this video, but we're gonna have a blog on our website, fieldvan.com. Check that out and you can see some direct comparisons between the vans.
And if you really want to figure out which is the perfect van for you, you can give us a call, come visit us here at the factory, or find us at one of the expos that we'll be at. They will be on our website under events. We hope to see you out there.